Now, my favorite way to make shaped bokeh effects is to simply print out two copies of designs that you made in Photoshop, and then print them on transparencies, and then cut them out and put them in front of your lens. These transparencies, I just printed them out at CopyMax, and you could also do it at Kinko's, or you could even buy your own transparent paper and do it yourself that way. Now you just want to cut out the design so it roughly fits inside of a filter, and then after that just tape it up so the two sheets stick together perfectly, and then you can put it inside of your lens ring just like that, and you may have to cut it again if it doesn't fit perfectly just to trim off some of those long edges. And then once it fits pretty good in there, you can just pop it in and pop it out. You can also place a clear UV filter in front of your lens just to keep that sucker in place. And then what you're going to want to do is make sure that you're using a lens that has a very wide aperture. So a 50mm f1.8 lens is probably the best solution for this, especially for the price of that lens. It's very cheap, but it's also very good. One other thing is that if you're printing out text, you want to make sure that the text is placed backwards on front of your camera lens. Now here's a picture that was taken with the bokeh shape that you just saw, and this was taken in my kitchen. There was fairy LED Christmas lights just dangling in the background there by the cupboard, and the cup was on a counter closer to the camera, and I got as close as I could to the cup, and the lights were about maybe 10 feet away. You just want to focus on the cup and make sure you're on the 1.8 aperture, and you should get a shot like this. Now you'll notice that the image actually is a little bit fuzzy and a little bit hazy. It's kind of blurry. That's because of the 1.8 aperture, but that is also because the transparency that we're shooting through is not crystal clear. It's not really calibrated for cameras. So that will gunk up the image a little bit with some little bit blur, a little bit of that dreamy, hazy type of look. You can use that to your advantage, but if you want your photo more clear, what you're going to have to do is take construction paper and take a very accurate, small and sharp razor knife and cut out the shape that way. This is more tedious, which is why I never really do it, but it will make your image a little bit more sharper. Also remember that when you're shooting through any sort of bokeh shape, it is limiting the amount of light that is going through the lens. The only light that is going through the lens is through that shape that says bokeh right there in text. So you can imagine that it's going to be much darker than if you just had the bokeh shape off. So you're going to have to raise your shutter speed or raise your ISO, and that will fix the image from getting too dark.